New platform, figuring out the technicalities. I got it.
Yeah. So now we're live.
All right. Yay. Happy to be live with you, Akira.
Yeah. So 皆さんおはようございます。ありがとうございます。皆さん、コメントたくさん。はい。タイラー・エリソンさんですね。ライオクのチャネラーということで、今日はタイラーとして、登場してもらって、いろいろ質問をですね、皆さん聞きたいことあると思うんですよね。チャネラーとして聞きたいことあると思うんで、それを、いろいろ聞いていく時間にしたいなと思います。はい。ちなみに、先に、So let me, Tyler, talk about the upcoming event about we are doing together in February.
Sure thing.
Yeah. で、先に告知ということで、2月の13日ですね、日本の時間の8時から、10時まで、第2回目のライオクとの、Q&A ライブイベントをやりますんで、参加したい方はですね、コメント欄にリンクを貼っといたんで、多分みんなのコメントと一緒に、みんなのコメントと混ざってるんでわけわかんないと思いますけど、コメント欄に LINE アットの、リンクつけといたんで、そこから登録していただけると、はい、見れます。はい。ということで、ぜひぜひ。あとね、10席ぐらい余ってるんで、逆に言うと10席しか残ってないんで、100人のうち10席残ってるんで、参加したい方は登録してくださいと、満員になる前に。非常にいいんですよ。このライフのイベントのやつはまた、いいエネルギーがすごい素晴らしいんで、ぜひ参加してくださいと。ということで、So Ryak, we're gonna be kicking off with the questions from the viewers, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, sure thing.
Or anything you want to say to the Japanese fans before we start?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing I'll share is that it's really exciting to be making these connections with so many people, to me, on the other side of the planet. I just think it's so special. And I think I've told this to you before, Akira, but every time I do sessions with you for the Japanese audience, the questions that are brought to Ryok I find are so interesting, and they reflect all types of different perspectives and experiences that I just find I don't encounter with questioners from other parts of the world. So it's the sessions with you and your audience has led to some really unique and exciting experiences for me, and has brought forth really powerful information from Ryok and the Sasani. And it's a beautiful experience, and I'm excited to do more. I'm excited to continue to connect with you and to connect with the people that are drawn to your channel and these teachings. And yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I'm very grateful for the experience.
Okay, let me translate that to the audience. いや、でも今ね、すごい、そっか、そういう風に取られるんだって面白いなと思ったんですけど、タイラーは、ライオクチャネリングするんですけど、主に、やっぱアメリカ人というかね、同じ文化圏の人とやってるんですよ。だから、僕ら日本人とそういうセッションとかやるときの質問とかがそもそもやっぱ違うから、そこでライオクもいろいろまた学べるっていうか、いろいろ知れるし、で、新しく、だからそれによって進化したライオクとタイラーがまた繋がれるから、すごくありがたいって言ってて、いやだからなんかね、僕らからするとね、ライオクありがとうしかないんだけど、それも向こうに貢献できてるっていうのがなんかすごい面白いですよね。だからなんだろうな、すごい何でもだから結局双方向なんだなと思いますよね。どっちか一方がメリットがあってとかじゃなくてね。素晴らしい。はい。Okay, so with that, I'm gonna sort of dive into the questions that I'm receiving. I got like so many questions on the YouTube right now. So can you hear me well, by the way? Are you hearing okay?
I can hear you fine. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let me pick one of those up here. Let me see. Let me see. Hold on. I'm not really good at picking up the questions, I guess. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, okay. So here's a question. So what was your kind of a sensation or feeling when you first met or knew about Bashar? What's your first kind of impression about when you come across with Bashar?
There was a strong feeling that it was very important for me to listen to what this person had to say.
Oh, okay. いや、まあ、会った時に、なんか、この人の言うことには、なんか、すごく大事なことがあるっていうか、なんか、すごくなんか、引き込まれる感じしたいのかなっていう、印象だったと。
And it felt compelling. It felt like something that almost was speaking to me directly. Like his words, I felt like I was, personally being addressed by his words. And there was this sense of being compelled to listen.
なるほどね。で要はなんか、ほとんど自分と喋ってるかのような感覚すら受けたと。それぐらいなんだろうな。自分にこう、響くっていうか、説得力があったっていう、表現が面白いね。自分と喋ってるような感じだったっていう表現が面白い。Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did because listening to Bashar's information and applying it has helped me to change my life in ways that I think really help me to be on a healthy path and to be on a timeline of my own life that is truly a benefit to not only myself but to others that I encounter.
まあその自分だけじゃなくて、まあそもそもあってすごい良かったと思うし、それが結果的に自分だけじゃなく他の人にもすごいメリットがね、ある展開になっていったっていうのがすごい良かったなと。Okay, great. All right, so let me see. It's a kind of funny question. Are you standing now or are you sitting?
Oh, that is a funny question. I am seated. I am sitting down.
Yeah.
It does look like I'm standing from this angle, though. I just put them together.
I feel like you're kind of really. All right. Grave for ancestors. 皆さん、質問がですね、ライオクに向けてる感じがするんですけども、タイラーさん向けなんでね、その辺を、勘違いなさらずに。But actually, there are a lot of questions that kind of people misunderstanding that they're kind of questioning to Ryak instead of Tyler, but you want to take on some of the questions that normally kind of for Ryak, or you want to get more personal questions rather?
We can do both. I'm happy to do both. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. All right, but this is for Tyler, I guess, as Tyler. What is the feeling when you're channeling, and what is the feeling after you're done the channeling with Ryak?
So, while I'm channeling Ryok, it's like I'm standing in a river.
チャネリングしている最中は川の中に立ってるような感じだと。
And his energy and the information is the water passing through me.
それでその立ってるその川の中で流れてくる水が、ライオクのエネルギーみたいな感じだと。
And the information is just like the water, where I have to let it flow through me. There's too much. I can't hold it. I can't grab it. So all I can do is experience it just passing through me.
で、もう、要するに水がバーって流れてる感じだから、もう要するに、それを掴もうとか止めようとか、することがもうできない。あまりにもそれがもう流れがすごくて、だからもうただ流すしかないっていうような感覚だと。It's funny because I think the recent video that I kind of posted from Bashar, or actually Darryl was talking about the experience of being channel, And he was pretty much saying exactly like that. It's like the information or energy is too much for him to handle. So it's like almost like just letting it open. Not to try to sort of do anything with it, but just to open yourself up. That's the best thing that he could do. And so that's pretty much like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. And when I experience the channeling state, what I'm experiencing is all of that information, again, just moving through me. And I'm aware of what's being said, like I hear it, right? I can hear the words, I can hear the questions, but I can't stop and focus on any specific part. It's like I'm like just watching that river, like I was saying, I see the whole thing flowing. If I try to focus on a part or think about one part too much, it almost distracts me from being able to channel. So I'm observing things, I'm watching things, and I'm just letting it flow. And afterwards, after the session,
let me
a little bit
up there, sure. Tyler, and let me translate for that part. その質問とか、あとはそのなんかライオが言ってることってのか、その言葉は一応聞こえてるらしいんですよね。その最中。けど、それを止めようとするとか、なんかそれに対してどうこうっていうのはもうできないっていう。それやろうとした瞬間にもうチャネリングができなくなっちゃうんで、もうそこはその流すしかない。でも面白いですよね。So you said you can hear the words actually because that's a little bit slightly different from Darryl's experience, I guess, because he says in some time he doesn't really understand or perceive what is being communicated, but you can actually sort of hear or the words.
I hear the words. I hear what the person I'm channeling for asks. I can hear their question, and I hear myself as I'm speaking, and I have no idea what's going to be said. I don't know what's going to be said to the person until Ryok starts speaking through me. And then in the moment I'm speaking, that's when I sort of know the answer. Sometimes in my head, Ryok will give me like a few words, like 6 words. And I'll speak those 6 words, and then it's almost like a whole book opens. And the book will be the lecture or the full answer that he then shares.
Wow, that's so amazing. 要は、だからね、ダリルとやっぱちょっと、バシャールのチャンネルしてダリルとちょっと違うなと思ったんだけど、言葉は全部聞こえてるっぽいんですよね。ダリルは全然それが聞こえてないって言うんですけど、聞こえてると。だけどなんか喋らされてるっていうか、要するに自分がそこに介在してないっていうか、意識があって何が言ってるか分かってんだけど、そこに介在していってないっていう、なんか最後にもちょっと面白い表現したなんか、そのライオクから届くの言葉が6つぐらいの単語が来て、だからそれだけだと普通はね、喋れないと思うけど、でもそれがなんか扉を開ける鍵になって、そこからもドラーってよくわかんないけど喋ってる自分がいるっていう状態らしいです。すごいな、これ。Okay, go ahead.
And after the sessions, I find that most of what is said I won't remember. And very important things or very unique, special things I will remember because it stands out more to my consciousness. But most of the conversation becomes sort of a blur. But ironically, if I channel for the same person after maybe a month, as soon as I'm channeling as Ryok, the awareness of what was previously spoken about returns.
Wow. まずチャネリングを終わった後には、だからやってる最中はどうして認識はしてるんだけども、終わった後はほとんど覚えてないと。すごいです。この状態も面白いですよね。覚えてないと。で、なんだけど、なんかすごくこれは大事だなとか特別だなと思うことは、なんかやっぱり覚えてるらしいんですよね。で、またさらに面白いのが、全部ほとんどは覚えてないのに、1ヶ月後に同じ人がセッションしたら、そのセッションしてる最中は、その前に喋ったことをやっぱ覚えてるっていうか思い出せるっていう状態なんですよね。だから、っていうことです。That's it?
Yeah, that sums it up. Yeah, it's my experience
Okay.
afterwards. I feel, I guess the final thing I say is after the channeling, I normally feel very good. I feel like a euphoric, like a glow, and that feeling will normally last for about an hour or to an hour and a half. And then afterwards, it's kind of up to me to keep that state going. If I don't do anything with it, it'll kind of go back to a more baseline level of my energy.
So what you said? What do you do after like an hour and a half passed? You do some exercise. You said what do you do to keep that?
So when I'm done channeling Ryok for about an hour to an hour and a half afterwards, I'll feel very good, very euphoric. But then that will sort of wear off, and I'll go back down to like a more of a normal baseline state of consciousness, more human.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I thought you said you do something to keep that kind of energy momentum after
yes.
an hour passed. I thought I heard, but it's not.
That is the case. I do a lot of Taoist Qigong practices, energy exercises to keep that energy as high as I can, throughout the day.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. で、その終わった後はとにかく、これね、ダレルも言ってるんですけど、すごくこう、なんかね、恍惚な感じしたの。すごい気持ちいい状態で、それが大体1時間から1時間半ぐらい続くんだけども、その後はだんだん落ちてくるっていう、普通の状態に戻るっていうことで、で、で、その下がらないように彼がいろいろ、日本語でなんていうのかな、キーガン、なんかね、チーガンっていう風に表現してるんだけど、日本語でなんていうかわかんないんですけどね。気が上がるような、要はそういう、主義っていうかなんかあるんですよね。儀式みたいなのがね。それを彼はやってエネルギーを高めてる。Alright, thanks man.
Very welcome.
So, let me pick another question. You know what? We got like 373 people watching now.
Wow. Thanks for being here, everybody.
And it's like, you gotta remember, this is like morning time. It's 10 a.m. on Tuesday.
Right? Yeah.
Everyone is supposed to be working.
That's great. Yeah, I'm happy to be a part of the collective conscious a little bit, in Japan. That's a fun feeling.
Yeah. Okay. Trying to think of you. Okay, so this is like supposed to be like a question for Ryok normally, but I will get to answer this question. All right. So this question is about time, and so Ryok or Bashar always tells time is an illusion and there is no past and future, and this questioner understand that as kind of a whatever logically speaking, but I don't think I believe she doesn't really understand it like how do you say emotionally or physically or that. Do you have a take on this about time and its illusion?
Yeah. So time is a real thing in the sense that it's a real experience that we have. We have a real experience of time.
まずはその時間っていうのは存在っていうか体感としては本当にあるものなんだ。だからそういう意味では別に幻想ではないっていうか、特に人間と意識でやってるのは別に時間っていうのはそういう意味ではちゃんとリアルなものなんだと。Yeah.
But it's also an illusion in that we are creating with our consciousness the experience of time, just in the same way we're using our consciousness to create all things in the reality.
で、なんだけども、それはそうなんだけども、でもこの時間っていう感覚自体は実は自分の意識が作ってるものなんだと。だからその時間がなんか変えられないものとして存在してるんじゃなくて、自分自身が時間を作っているんだっていうのが、宇宙的に言うと本当のことなんだってことみたいですね。
Yep. And a way that you can sort of verify this for yourself is pay attention to how time feels in different moments. When you're having fun, right, and you feel good, time moves very quickly. When you're unhappy, when you're bored, time moves very slow. And this is a way you can feel and see very easily how your consciousness is creating your experience of time.
で、まあ、それを実際に分かる方法として一番まあ、体感的に分かるのは、自分の感情とか状態によって、時間の進み具合っていうか感じ方が変わるよねと。そう。まあ、それがまさに自分の意識が時間というものを作ってるという、まあ何よりの体感できる証拠ですねと。Okay?
Yes.
That's it?
Yep. That I think that pretty much sums it up. I mean, there's a lot more that I think Ryok can share on that, and he's actually giving me like very fascinating images right now, in my mind about this. And to him, time. I'll share this. This is what he's sharing with me now. To him, time in the human world here to all of us, when he looks at our experience of time, it's like looking at a picture book where you can flip all of the pictures and it creates a moving image. So he's saying that is pretty much how time actually looks to him when he looks at our reality. But to all of us, because we're the ones in time, we experience all of those pictures being flipped. Where to him, the pictures look just like pictures. He can see our time in that way.
Okay, got it. That was a very, very easy to understand example. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
その最後にライオクと、まあ、タイラーがね、やりとりしてるときに、ライオクが教えてくれた、その時間の感覚っていうのが今聞きながら、わー、なるほどな、わかりやすいと思ったんですけど、その、時間は彼らからするとですよ、その、ライオクとかからすると、時間っていうのが、その絵本みたいなもんらしいんですよね。絵本をこのパラパラめくるというか、要するに絵本を、だから絵本って僕らは別に見るときに好きなときに好きなページを見れるじゃないですか。こう見よう、あそこ見ようみたいな。ただのその、静止の集まりが絵本じゃないですか。だから好きなところに行けますよねと。だからそれがライオクからの視点で、僕らはどっちかっていうと勝手にページがもうなんか次から次へと次へとめくられてるみたいに思ってるのが僕らみたいな。その差だっていう。これ分かりやすいですね。Okay, thank you, Tyler.
You're welcome. Yes.
Okay, let me get to another questions. This is just a comment, but one comment says you look like a Ed Sheeran.
Oh, I get that a lot. Even in the United States, I get that a lot. People say I look a lot like him. I haven't seen a picture of him in a while, so I can't comment too much. And I don't know his music, but maybe it would benefit me to learn a little bit about it, given that I share a visual similarity to him.
一応よく言われると。で、音楽あんま聞かないんだけど、聞いたらなんかいいことあるかもしんないね、みたいな。Okay, so let me... Okay, so this is kind of a question for Ryok, typically speaking, but I would like to hear this one from you as well. And I know this is kind of a personal, not really personal, but different from by person to person. But in general, how do you sort of raise your frequency? That's the question. How?
Yeah, so that's a great question. The general answer for anybody is to really do what you love, right? In Buddhism, they talk about that as your dharma. That's your purpose, right? Why you exist, right? Mm-hmm. When we do what is truly passionate for us, what truly excites us, our frequency naturally is high because we're channeling our soul. We're channeling what we are, and that keeps the frequency high.
Mm-hmm. そのまあこれはねよく言われることは一般論なんだけど、とにかく自分がとにかく大好きなことをやるんだと。でまあそれが結局はここに来た地球にやってきた目的ダルマっていうのかな、ダーマとかよく言ったりするみたいですけどね。だし、であとはその状態としてはその自分の魂にチャネリングをしている状態なので、だからまあ。それって結局それが周波数上がることですよね。それは魂がだって周波数高いんだからそこと繋がったら魂上がるに決まってんじゃんみたいなっていう感じですね。Yeah.
Yeah. And our frequency is already very, very high, right? As a consciousness, as a spirit, we already have a very high frequency. It's
Wow,
simply a matter of, yeah, it's all a matter of allowing ourselves to channel that in our lives. And then that's what allows for the physical frequency of our character to then be high.
いや、今のいい言葉ですよね。でもなんか宇宙のやつってこういう系が多いような気がするんですけど、要は僕らの周波数ってのは実は要するにもともとっていうか本来はっていうか、すでに高いんだと。だから自我を多分そこに合わせるだけって言ったらいいのかな。なんかいい表現ですよね。なんか僕らってほら、なんか何でもかんでもないから手に入れようってしちゃうじゃないですか。ないから手に入れよう、ないから手に入れようってするけど、もう確かに高いんですよね、僕らすでにね。高いのを低いと思い込んでるというか自我がね、だけだから、ただ高くなればいいっていう。素晴らしい。That was fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
All right. So this is kind of a personal question to Tyler. So are you talking with Ryak on a kind of a daily basis, regular basis?
Well, that's a good question. I think that I sometimes speak to him without knowing I'm doing it. Like ideas will come to me, inspirations will come to me, and I really just take what comes. You know, I make sure the energy feels good, and then I just take what comes. I don't always investigate where it's coming from, but I believe a lot of that information comes from him. I'm beginning to talk to him more and more, though, each day. Like I did a transmission last night. I released it, the one you saw, Akira, the manifestation video. Yeah. And in my mind, I just asked him, I'm like, what do you want to talk about? And he just gave me that content. So I'm learning to do it more and more. But for the most part, I just allow information and intuition to come. I don't always necessarily focus on where it's coming from.
So it's not like you are kind of schedule or, try to do, daily basis communication, but it's like allowing the timing, whatever the, state you're in to draw to it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. だから毎日なんか日課として、ライオクと喋ろうみたいなね、そういう感じじゃないみたいですね。任せてるっていう感じで。だから勝手にやってくる情報がポンってくる場合もあれば、で昨日僕たまたまライオクじゃねえ、タイラーのチャンネルで見かけた動画があるんですけどね。後で一応翻訳してあげようかなと思ってるやつがあるんですけど、でそれはなんか、タイラーがちょっとこう、ライオクになんか喋りたいことあるって聞いてみたら、ブワーって情報が来たんで、昨日ボーンって YouTube にね、彼の英語ですけどね、載せたっていう。これもね、でも非常にいい内容だったんで、ちょっと翻訳して載せようかなと思ってるんですけど、ちょっと長いんですけどね。Okay, cool. Okay, so the next question is, so from your, Tyler's, from your perspective, what's the difference between the consciousness of Japanese and American people? Or is there any differences in terms of consciousness?
Well, I've only had experiences with Japanese people for the most part, on the internet through these kinds of dialogues. My physical exposure to Japanese people has been minimal. It's been smaller, here in the United States. I mean, I've met a few people with Japanese ancestry and connections here, but it's mainly been through the web. So in terms of the consciousness, it's a little challenging for me to really comment on that just because of my limited exposure. Okay. But what I will say mirrors what I mentioned in the beginning, which is I've noticed the questions that Japanese people through this platform have brought to Ryok tend to be very unique questions, and they sort of come from a perspective that is just really stands out. Things that don't typically get asked in those sessions. Like a lot of my clients will ask the same types of questions, different people all asking kind of the same thing. But I found that the most unique and eye-popping questions have come from the Japanese people that I have channeled.
So how do you? Okay, let me translate first, and then I have kind of a follow-up question. まず日本人とそんなに絡んでないみたいなんですよね、タイラーまだ。だからあんまりその違いが自分のタイラー的な視点からはよくわからないんだけども、ただ僕がね、そのセッションを 前回もそうだし、あとその前にも少人数のセッションを組んで、ライブとやったりしてたんですけど、その質問がすごく特徴的っていうか、アメリカ人が聞いてくる質問大体一緒なんだけど、日本人だった瞬間にこんな質問するのみたいなのがあるらしいんですよね。だからそれって僕らからすると不思議じゃないですか。それを聞こうと思うんですけど。Alright, so what is it about that kind of stands out from the Japanese question that make you feel like, wow, this is like, interesting or whatever. What is it about? I mean, how is that eye-popping?
Well, it's sort of the nature of some of the questions. I mean, one question a woman asked Ryok was, I thought, such an interesting question. And it was and you probably remember this, Akira. This woman asked, when I look at myself in the mirror, sometimes I feel like I look very beautiful when I see my reflection.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
In a picture, I look like a different person, and it's so different. Even my friends comment on it. And what I thought was, that's an experience that so many people have, but yet no one asks about that. No one dives into what that is. But this person had done that, and there were other questions that I found the Japanese audience provided, where they would really in-depthly ask their question from all of these different angles, and they would give real-life examples to sort of really emphasize the question. So it felt like the question had more dimensions to it. It felt more like extra-dimensional questions were being presented. Mm-hmm. That's how I would describe it. Yeah.
Wow. That was, very, good explanation. Yeah. 僕が、その、大規模なやつやる前に少人数でやってた時の質問で、僕も覚えてるんですけど、女性の質問で、その実際に鏡で見る自分と、その写真の自分っていうのが、見た目が違くて悩んでるっていう話をしたんですけど、で、それって確かに、アメリカ人でも感じることではあるんだけど、それを、質問するっていうことが、例えば質問までなんつったらいいのかな。だから無意識で思ってるけど、意識的に捉えて、それを質問するってとこまで持ってくるっていうことが、多分ないっぽいんですよね、多分アメリカ人だと。なんかそれを質問するのが情けないとか恥ずかしいと思うのからかもしれないですけど、だからそこの、なるほど、確かにあるよね、みたいに気づかされたっていうところが視点ですよね。もう一個の例も多分同じことだと思うんですけど、一つの質問をするのに、すごくいろんな、状況設定っていうか、こうでっていう、いろんなアングルから説明した上で、私はこういう質問なんですっていうのをするときに、そのマルチディメンショナルっていう言葉を使ってたけど、要するにもう多次元的な質問の仕方をするみたいなね。そう。多分、今の二つを踏まえると、多分日本人の方がやっぱり繊細さがあるのかなっていう気はしましたね。うん。Cool. Yeah, that was great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Let me see. Oh, this is kind of an interesting question as well. So this question is about your childhood and the experience when you're a child and going to school and exposed to your education at school. So, and I think this is a little bit kind of a tricky question because the education system in Japan and US, I think there's a lot of differences out there. So may not be kind of a question that applies to us, but anyhow, did you have any challenges or whatever the negative experience that you had when you're going to elementary school or kind of when you're a child?
Yeah, when I was a child, I felt like an alien. I felt like I didn't know how to relate to people. I felt like I didn't know how to connect to people. I mean, now it's very easy for me to do it. It's very fun. But when I was young, I felt like such an outsider. So I had a challenging time feeling like I fit in, had a challenging time making friends when I was younger. And that sort of led me to experimenting with the role of like the clown, right? The class clown, trying to get people to laugh so I could be accepted. And it was a little dysfunctional because I would get in trouble a lot from doing that. And people would get kind of annoyed. Sometimes I wasn't funny. Sometimes I was obnoxious, So my experience when I was younger was really an experimental period to fit in.
なるほどね。 多分これは教育のシステムとかそういうものじゃないかもしれないんだけど、まあ、要は友達を作るのが結構苦労したみたいで、で、なんか、ひょうきん者みたいな、おどけ者みたいなことをやることで、一応、なんかその、注目を得るっていうか、好意を持ってもらえたりするときもあれば、でもそれによって嫌われたり叩かれたりすることもあって、だからその、みんなと馴染むっていうことを、なんかいろいろこう、彼なりに実験して過ごしたみたいですね。まあまあ、ある意味それはみんなそうかもしれないけどね。Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And
Okay.
I guess what I'll say to finish it up too is when I was in school, that was when I first started having contact. But like I said earlier about how my imagination, my inspiration would sort of give me these messages from Ryok. I remember at one point in 7th grade, so I was probably like maybe around 13, maybe a little bit older than that. I'm not sure exactly how old I was then. I just remember becoming fascinated with drawing aliens. It just became a thing I did all the time. It just started. And at the same time that started, that was when my social personality, my charisma started to open up. So around the same time I sort of became more of myself, I also began intuitively just drawing these aliens in like every class. I'd be doodling this, very throughout the day. So it's a little foreshadowing of what was to come later for me.
Wow, that's very fascinating. So people were like, I mean, that the other children were like fascinated about it, or they were like a little bit kind of feeling alien, so to speak, about it. How was the reactions?
Well, with the illustrations, I didn't show too many people. Most of the people I showed seemed pretty indifferent, I think. But I loved it. It felt good to draw them. It felt like physically good, emotionally good. Something about creating these pictures with vivid detail almost felt like I was drawing an aspect of myself, into the reality.
Wow. And you said that will kind of let you to your charismatic characters come out after sort of, drawing those pictures.
Right around that time of drawing them, I really came out of my shell, so to say. I became more social. Yeah.
Whoa. That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
いや、そのね、さっきの流れで締めじゃないんだけど、でもすごい面白いエピソードで、7学年って、まあ、日本人でいうとこの小学6年生とか中1ぐらい、年齢で12、3歳ぐらいなんですけど、その時に彼が、まあ、きっかけは多分もう突然だと思うんだけど、宇宙人の絵を描き出してるんですよね。人に別に見せるわけじゃなかったし、まあ、彼にちょっと見せても、リアクションが別にあったわけじゃないんだけど、その宇宙人を描けば描くほど、すごく自分の気持ちが上がってって、自分と繋がる感じになって、で、それが結果的に、今までなんかね、なんか人に合わせようとか、人に馴染もうとしてたのが、すごいこの内側から来るナチュラルな、カリスマ性みたいなのが出てきて、で、すごい社交的になっていったっていう。面白いですよね。普通はね、宇宙人入ってたら変に思われるんじゃないかと思うけど、でも結局それをやってることが自分と繋がって、自分の自信とかに繋がっていったっていうね。で、社交的になっていったっていうのが面白いですよね。Yeah, that was very good episode. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, what time is it, by the way? Oh, it's 40 minutes past.
Wow.
You're okay?
Yeah, let's go for a little bit longer. I'm happy to stay.
500 people now. What?
Oh, great. Yeah, let's stay on for another let's do maybe another 10 minutes. That'd be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go for about 10 minutes then. Yeah. Okay, let me see. Okay, let me pick this one up. So, what made you really realize or actually feel like that your vibration or frequency is actually creating your reality? What was your personal, real, tangible experience about that,
Well, I remember one time I really decided to apply the knowledge of my energy creates my reality. For a while, it was just an idea. And I was like, oh, maybe that's true. And then one day I decided I am going to act 100% like that is a fact. And when I really did that and I really committed to that, everything in my life changed in about 2 weeks, where I unexpectedly moved to another part of the United States with all new people. It was literally like I let go of an old life and within 2 weeks became a totally different person. It was night and day, very fast. And this came from 100% commitment to that idea. And with that kind of experience, to me, that was enough evidence that the principle of you create your own reality is true. And it has continued to play out for me time and time again. I mean, it's how I live my whole life. And it seems to perpetually reveal its true nature to me. The genuineness behind it is always apparent now in all that I see.
Wow. So what was that? Okay, let me translate it first, and then I'll follow up questions.
Sure.
So, by the way, what was the how old were you when did this commitment and follow through and
I was 20. I was 20 years old.
Okay. まず先に、翻訳すると、その20歳の時に、そのどうやってね、波動が現実を作ってるのを実感した体験の話なんですけど、もう20歳の時に、もう絶対にそれを、要は波動が現実を作ってるっていうことを証明しようと、体感しようっていうふうに 100% コミットした日があったらしいんですよね。だからハッピーちゃんとちょっと似てるかもしれないですけど、もう絶対にもうやってやるっていうコミットですよね。彼獅子座なんでちょっと獅子座っぽいなと思いますけど。で、そしたら2週間で本当に現実がもう完全に変わったらしいんですよね。引っ越しをしたとか言ってましたけど、多分それも全部含めてもう全部過去の人生とその2週間後が全部変わったっていうふうに言ってて、多分強調してたのはそのコミットメントですね。もう本当にそうするって決めたっていう感覚。で、今から聞きたいのは、そもそもなった理由を聞きたいんですよ。その決めた理由を聞きたいんですけどね。Alright, so the follow-up question that I have is that what led you to that commitment? Because making that kind of a strong commitment doesn't really come out of nowhere, right? I mean, it could be from inspirations, but was there any particular reason or motivation that led you to that 100% commitment?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So before I made that choice, I was not a very positive person. I was not virtuous. I was not benevolent to my friends, to my family. I was very selfish, very, very negative kind of character. And I had a moment where I really accepted that I was being selfish, that I was being negative, and I owned it. And in that moment, I decided I'm done with that. I am so done with that. It's only hurt people. It's only hurt myself. And in that moment, my heart just completely opened, like it was like a volcanic explosion. Literally the fire of my heart just totally opened, and I became so passionate about only living from the heart after that. And I found that this information that Bashar talks about of following your passion, right, of knowing you create your reality and therefore creating your reality from a state of passion, that whole thing to me became like a natural instinct. I was like, oh, of course that's what you do, right? If I stay in this negative energy, I can only create a negative reality. But if I truly give into this heart, then I can create the most positive reality for myself and other people.
That's a great story. Thanks for sharing that. いや、そのね、きっかけが何だったのか聞きたいと思ったんですけど、やっぱ素晴らしい。でも多分みんなそうだと思うんですけどね、僕もある意味そうだったんで。20歳に変わろうって決める直前っていうのは本当に自分のことが嫌だったみたいなんですよね。もう自分勝手で自己中心的で、 しかもネガティブだし、もう本当に嫌な自分だったらしいんですよね。で、なんかそこのプロセスがすごい面白かったんですけど、でそれを、多分それまでは多分人のせいとかいろんなものにせいにしたんだけど、なんか自分でそれをこれがもう自分なんだっていうふうに受け入れたっていうか、なんか自分のものとして受け止めたみたいなんですよね。外じゃなくて。これは自分が選んでるというかやってるっていう。したら、不思議なもんで、そうしたら心がドカーンって開いたっていうんですよ。面白いですよね。これが自分なんだってやったら、そのネガティブもね、自分勝手も何もかも。したら心がボーンって開いて、で、そこからその現象が起きたっぽいんですよね。そう。で、その心が開いた状態っていうのが、それ以降ずっと続いてるっていうか、要するにこの、バシャールが言ってるワクワクすることをやろうっていうのって結局その心を開いた状態っていうか、心が踊る状態でやればうまくいくっていう。で、それがもう彼にとってはそれ以降ね、その20歳以降はもうそれが当たり前だよねっていう状態になってる。ワクワクすることやるからうまくいくって、それはそうだよねみたいな。でそれは多分心を開いて心から生きるっていうことを、まあ体感して、で、その一歩手前にあったのは、やっぱりもうこれは自分なんだっていう、自分が全部の責任じゃないけどね、自分が持ってることなんだっていうところをなんか、ぐわーってこう、持ったところからスタートしてるっていうのが、いいっすね。いいストーリーでした。Alright. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. All right, so this is like a natural question, I guess. That is, how can I channel? How can I do the channeling? That's a question.
Sure. Well, the first thing I'd recommend is to live your life in a way that fully embodies the information these higher beings talk about. Let your whole life be a living representation of their message and their energy. Whether you're channeling them or not, live like you're them. Live like you're a higher being. Not higher than anyone else, but live like you can see from the higher points of view, which is the point of view of your heart, and let your whole life be filled with that. When you can do that, it's so easy to channel, because then you have a knowingness of that point of view that is the point of view of the guides. You're already living it, so it's not a stretch to speak from their perspective. But if you don't live their energies, it's more of a stretch. It's more challenging.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense. And it's actually pretty much the same as Darryl was talking about his channeling experiences, that he was saying that as soon as he kind of closed the gap in terms of differences, because the time that he was having a hard time channeling was that he thought that him and them are different. He was like really differentiating the existence of him and them. But as soon as he closed the gap of the differences, the channeling became so easy. So I think that was what you're talking about, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like his answer. It's a great answer.
Yeah. 今非常にでもね、いい答えだと思うんですけど、この間僕が翻訳した誰の説明ともつながるんですけど、その自分のすべての人生を、その高次の要は存在っていうか、ハイヤーセルフでも何でもいいんですけど、そういう高次元の存在と同じエネルギーっていうか、同じ状態で生きるっていう。要はもう自分が彼らと同じぐらいの状態になるってことですよね。そうすると、チャネリングっていうのはしやすくなるよ。こうやって説明すると当たり前っちゃ当たり前ですよね。だって結局すべては周波数なんだから、周波数が違ったらそれは使わねえよねっていうね。で、それを多分、今ここから先は僕の勝手な説明ですけど、寝てる時とか睡眠時にはできてるんですよ、きっと。人って。エゴがないから。けど、起きるとエゴがバンバン走り出すから多分、周波数が下がるっていうか、本当は高いんだけど下がった感じになっちゃうっていうのを、どれだけ そのね、オープンになるっていうか、周波数を高次元のレベルと同じような状態に自分がなれるかっていうね。でそれが結局心を開くことだし、そうでそれを全部の、とにかく人生のすべての状態でそれを採用するっていう、ある瞬間だけじゃなくてね、全部の状態で、人生の中でそういうエネルギーになるっていう。Wow, that was good. Alright, so I guess, we're kind of close to the ending, I guess. It's about an hour. So anything you want to say before we close?
Well, I want to thank you for having me on here. I want to thank everybody who tuned in for tuning in. It's great to be able to share with you all, and it's great to have this information and a little bit of my story received. So thank you for receiving this info, and may it serve you in the highest ways possible.
Okay. まあ本当にね、こうやって皆さんとつながれることが嬉しいし、参加してくれた皆さんにも本当に感謝してるし、そのいろいろ情報を提供させてくれて、貢献させてくれてありがとうございます。この貢献させてくれてありがとうございますってがね、高次元ですよね、もうすでにね。はい。Okay, so thanks, Thailand. Before, I guess we want to announce the events that we're having on February 13th. We're having like 10 seats left, I guess. 100 people is going to be gathering, but it's going to be exciting. So I will explain that now.
Sure.
はい。皆さんありがとうございました。本当に。ちょっとなんかね、僕のこれ単純に思いつきでね、いや、3、4日ぐらい前かな、忘れましたけど、4、5日前かな。思いついて、平にやりないって言ったら、いいよって言ってくれて、やったんですけど、すごいやってみてよかったです、まずは。やっぱ、ライオクの情報がね、もちろんすごいのはわかるんですけど、やっぱ人間として生きてるタイラーのエネルギーとか考え方とかっていうのもすごい僕らとしては参考になるじゃないですか。たまになんか聞くんですよ。どうせなんかライオクなんて、宇宙にいる存在なんだからわかんねえよみたいなね。言う人もいるけど、でも今こうやって話をね、タイラーとして聞くとやっぱり、なんかね、学べるものっていうか気づけることがあって、すごくやってよかったなって思いますと。で、最初見ましたけど、2月13日の土曜日の朝8時から10時までで、10時までの間で、ライオクの、今度はライオクですけど、Q&A ライブイベントをまたやりますと。で、さっきコメント欄にリンクつけといたんですけど、LINE アットの、登録するとチケット購入の、リンクが届くんで、そこから申し込んでください。今、あと、これ10かな、確か。100人がキャパなんですけど、10席ぐらいあるんで、はい。ぜひ、今度はライオクに質問したい人は参加してくださいと。Alright, so I guess that's it. And thanks again. And we'll talk to you on February 13th. Well, actually 12th, I guess your time.
Yeah, my time. Yeah, 13th for all of you in the morning. Yeah. Oh, well, I'm so looking forward to it, Akira. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Last event was great, and this one is going to be so exciting. And by the way, my largest events have been working with you, so it's so fun to be able to experience this higher amount of audience participants through this.
Yeah. It's my passion and joy as well. So thanks for the co-creation, man.
Oh, of course. Yeah. It's mutual. Absolutely mutual.
Yeah. Okay. ということで、これで終わりたいと思います。皆さんありがとうございました。たくさん、本当に500人以上参加、しかもこれ平日ですからね、今。平日の午前中にこんなにたくさんあってると思いませんでしたけど、本当にありがとうございました。はい。Alright, so see you guys and thanks, Tyler.
Yep, you got it, Akira. Take care, everybody. Have a beautiful start to your day.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
皆さんありがとうございました。さよなら。